locate the emergency exit nearest to your seat. Exits are located on the left and right of the theater. In the unlikely event of an emergency, our volunteer ushers, who are positioned throughout the building, will guide you safely out of the theater. Please look to them for instructions. Please note that photography and video recording of this inaugural is not allowed. And finally, during this performance, there will be no intermission. We thank you for your attention, and our event will be starting very shortly. Thank you.
Good evening, and welcome to the inauguration of the 2018 to 2022 term of Brampton City Council. As we begin tonight's meeting, we would like to acknowledge that we are gathering here today on the ancestral and treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation. We also acknowledge the Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, Métis, and Inuit, along with other global Indigenous nations that call Brampton their home. We are honored to share this land where we live, work, and play. Now please join me in welcoming Anishinaabe traditional grandmother Kim Wheatley for a smudging ceremony.
Act detail. Shoulder, arms. On a guard. Stand at ease. Stand easy.
Anin Bojo, Mishike and Dodem, Shkodenigan, Wawaskon and Indigenikas, Shawanaga and Dunji, Anishinaabe Kwe, Ojibwe and Dao. I bring greetings in the language of my Ojibwe ancestors. Anin Bojo, my spirit recognizes your spirit. Shkodenigan, Wawaskonen, I am Turtle Clan, and my spirit name is head or leader of the fire flower. I come from Shawanaga First Nations, and I too want to acknowledge the ancestral and treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation. Those beautiful people continue to take care of the lands upon which this building stands today. And as I acknowledge all of the councillors and the new mayor onto these treaty territories, I want to remind you that as you take your steps daily, you're stirring up the dust of our ancestors. And I encourage you to remember not only the lands you're upon, but to continue to acknowledge our interactive presence and contributions in this region and indeed across the country. In our custom, we start things off in a good way with a good heart and a good mind. And we do what's called a smudging ceremony. It's the lighting of ceremonial sage. And it's a bit of a purification process, and it helps us to ground ourselves to our First Mother, the Earth, and unite our hearts in a good way. So I'm going to light that smudge now. I'm going to walk around the semicircle here and smudge all those that are present here on stage. I'll fan some out to each and every one of you, and then I'm going to offer a song of acknowledgement, a song of prayer, a song of unity that will help us to start off in that good way with a good heart and a good mind. At the end of the song, it is my sincere hope that you will join me in what I call a buffalo yell. It's an acknowledgement that we are indeed united with the same purpose, the same intent, and the same acknowledgement of celebration on this day. So this is what it sounds like. Yeah. So wait until I finish the song, and then we can do that. In my culture, the word for thank you is miigwech. Naho, Nishin, very good. You're getting a bit of a language introduction here. This is an important moment for us all. And so I hope that you'll remember this day. I hope that you will take our good intent and our offer of meaningful relationship to heart as we come together with this song. And I'll ask you to continue to stay standing if you are able. Hey! Miigwech, everybody. Enjoy this evening's festivities.
Thank you very much, Kim. At this time, I would please ask if you could just please rise one more time as for the singing of our national anthem.
Honor guard! Honor guard, at 10, shut! Axe detail, carry, arms.
I'm pleased to announce vocalist Samantha Piper, who will sing the national anthem, to be followed by a moment of personal reflection. Thank you. You may now be seated. Thank you.
Honor guards in column of route, left and right, turn. Eye to left, quick, mark.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Peter Fay. I'm the City Clerk, and I'm pleased to be your MC for this evening's event. This is the inaugural meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brampton for the term of office from December 1, 2018 to November 14, 2022. A warm welcome to all of you here in the magnificent Rose Theatre, as well as our guests who may be watching from Garden Square, from over at City Hall in the City Hall Conservatory, as well as those watching on the city's live stream at home. Thank you for being with us this evening as the new council is officially sworn in and duly organized. Today marks the 16th term of council since the City of Brampton was incorporated as a city in 1974. This evening we will witness the declarations of office for the members of council. Those elected as city councilors will represent us as members of city council, and the mayor and regional councilors will sit at the councils of both the City of Brampton Council and the Regional Municipality of Peel. Brampton currently has the mayor and 5 regional councillors who represent the city on the Council of the Region of Peel, and tomorrow, in keeping with the provisions of the Regional Municipality of Peel Act, City Council will meet to appoint one of the 5 city councillors to be an additional regional councillor. So now it is my sincere pleasure to introduce you to our new council as we begin the proceedings tonight. I would ask that council members please rise as I call your name, and I'll be starting from our far right of the stage. First, we have City Councillor Rowena Santos, Wards 1 and 5. Regional Councillor Paul Vicente, Wards 1 and 5. City Councillor Doug Willens, Wards 2 and 6. Regional Councillor Michael Palesci, Wards 2 and 6. City Councillor Jeff Bowman, Wards 3 and 4. Regional Councillor Martin Medeiros, Wards 3 and 4. City Councillor Charmaine Williams, Wards 7 and 8. City Councillor Harkarat Singh, Wards 9 and 10. Oh, sorry, Councillor. I jumped the gun. There was too much applause there. Regional Councillor Pat Fortini, Ward 7 and 8. Now we have City Councillor Harkarat Singh, Wards 9 and 10. Regional Councillor Gurpreet Singh Dillon, Wards 9 and 10. And His Worship, our Mayor of the City of Brampton, Patrick Brown. Thank you, members of council. You can please take your seats. We're also honored to have with us this evening federal members of parliament, provincial members of parliament, Chief Dundas of Peel Regional Paramedic Services, former members of Brampton City Council, and our city's senior leadership team. I would also now like to start the ceremonial portion of the meeting, and that I'll be going over to the table over to my left, and we'll be inviting each member of council to come forward to read the declaration of office to be sworn in. So I would now like to call forward Rowena Santos to please come forward to read the declaration of office.
I, Rowena Santos, having been elected to the office of City Councillor in the City of Brampton, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Do you swear or affirm?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I will now call Paul Vicente to please come forward to take the declaration of office.
I, Paul Vicente, having been elected to the office of Regional Councillor in the City of Brampton, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Do you swear or affirm?
I do.
I will now ask Doug Willens, to come forward to take the declaration of office.
I, Doug Willens, have been elected to the office of City Councillor in the City of Brampton, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflicts of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and is effect as if made under oath.
Do you swear or solemnly affirm?
I do.
We'll now ask Michael Palesci to please come forward to take the declaration of office.
I, Michael Palesci, have been elected to the office of Regional Councillor in the City of Brampton, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and I make this solemn promise and declaration, conscientiously believing it to be true, and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Do you swear or solemnly affirm?
I do.
I would now like to ask Jeff Bowman to please come forward to take the declaration of office.
I, Jeff Bowman, having been elected to the office of City Councillor in the City of Brampton, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And I make this solemn promise and declaration, conscientiously believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Do you swear or solemnly affirm?
I do.
And we'll now ask Martin Medeiros to please come forward to take the declaration of office.
I, Martin Medeiros, having been elected to the office of Regional Councillor in the City of Brampton, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And I make the solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Do you swear or solemnly affirm?
I do.
I will now ask Charmaine Williams to please come forward to take the declaration of office.
I, Charmaine Williams, having been elected to the office of City Councillor in the City of Brampton, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a unbiased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and I make this solemn promise and declaration, conscientiously believing it to be true and knowing that it is made of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Do you swear or solemnly affirm?
I do.
I'll get it right this time. Could I ask Pat Fortini to please come forward?
Pat Fortini, I have been elected to the office of Regional Councillor in the City of Brampton. I duly solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, impartial exercise this office in the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of the office of bias and corrupt in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear the true alliance of Her Majesty, the Queen Elizabeth II. I make the solemn promise and declaration consistently believing in the truth and knowing that it is in the same force and effect if made under oath.
Do you swear or solemnly affirm? I will now ask Harkarat Singh to please come forward to take the declaration of office.
I, Harkirat Singh, having been elected to the office of City Councillor in the City of Brampton, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, and I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Do you swear or solemnly affirm?
I do.
I will now ask Gurpreet Singh Dhillon to please come forward to take the declaration of office.
I, Gurpreet Singh Dhillon, have been elected to the office of Regional Councillor in the City of Brampton, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Do you swear or solemnly affirm?
I do.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I please ask that you direct your attention to the screen above for a special declaration.
Patrick, it's a pleasure to welcome you to my wife's home, which I share with her. I've lived here for some years now, very close to 89, and you have seen a picture of my father. He was here for a long period of time. He was the Crown Attorney. It's a pleasure to have you here, and you know what you're supposed to do, and you will do this properly. You'll be a great asset to the city, and if you please sign this declaration of office.
Well, Premier, I'll read it first of all. The Declaration of Office, Section 232 of the Municipal Act 2001. I, Patrick Brown, having been elected to the office of Mayor in the City of Brampton, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, indirect or direct, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And I make this solemn promise and declaration consciously believing it to be true and knowing that it is the same force and effect as if made under oath. And this will be declared before you in the City of Brampton in the region of Peel on this 2nd day of December. And I'll sign it now with honor.
Patrick, you did very well. I appreciated the way you read it, and you understand everything you've said, and I happen to believe you'll keep it. There you are. Are you ready for this?
To make it official.
I never had one of these. How's that?
Perfect. Let me just say it's of real honor to have my favorite Premier, Mr. Brampton, present this chain of office. It's a real honor.
My pleasure, yes. And you tell your wife from me that you deserve it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Mayor for his inaugural address, Mayor Patrick Brown.
Well, good evening, Brampton, and welcome to our inaugural council meeting for the term of 2018 to 2022. And we appreciate you attending tonight's celebration in this beautiful Rose Theatre. I'm humbled by the honor and the opportunity to serve as mayor of Canada's 9th largest city. And thank you to Peter Fay for swearing us all in. And I also want to thank the Piper from the Lawrence Scots, the Brampton Fire, Enforcement Honor Guards for participating tonight. So a hand to all those involved in tonight's ceremony. Now, one of the beautiful things about our community is there's so many well-wishers, so many people wanting to see us succeed as a city council, succeed for our city. And I wanted to share a few of the messages that I received in the weeks leading up to tonight's ceremony from faith communities, because we're so grateful for their well wishes and prayers for our city. First, I want to read a note from Pundit Tripathi from the Gauri Shankar Mandir, who wrote to me that his wish upon the city of Brampton is a Hindu prayer that says, "May everyone be happy, may all experience good things, and may no one be unhappy. Peace, peace, peace." What a beautiful prayer. And this council must work to ensure every Bramptonian can live in the spirit of those words. My friend Daljit Singh Sekon from the Malton Gurdwara shared with me some of the tenets of the Sikh faith, which are to work hard, earn an honest living, to share your blessings with those in need, and to donate and give back, to remember God and meditate upon His name. And I want to work with this great team on stage to help elevate Brampton to a place with economic development where there are opportunities, honest living. Through sharing with each other, we can eliminate and combat poverty, where we have the comfort to practice our beliefs and live our lives without being worried for our safety. I wish to see an inclusive Brampton, and many of the moms in our community shared with me beautiful notes for the new city council. And one I wanted to share in particular was a verse from the Quran, which says, "We have created you into tribes and nations so that you may know one another." And Sheikh Faisal from the Islamic Forum explained that to me, what that meaning is, and that is we must learn from each other's diverse backgrounds to bring the best out in each other to the benefit of our beautiful city. Well, if we're going to learn from diversity, boy, do we have a wealth of experience and a wealth of knowledge in the city of Brampton. So thank you for sharing that to Sheikh Faisal. Pastor David Safari reminds us that of the Christian teachings of taking on the responsibilities of governance. St. Francis of Assisi asked God to grant him the serenity to accept the things he cannot change, the courage to change the things he can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so for all the faith leaders who have shared with us their well wishes, I just want to say once again, thank you for your goodwill, and thank you for our blessings upon our great city. Now, I'd be remiss not to thank my family. My parents, Edmund and Judy, are here tonight. My sister, Fiona, my in-laws, Sylvia and Angelo, and of course, my beautiful wife, Genevieve, who is always by my side. Now, one of my biggest supporters can't be here tonight, but she called me before to wish me well, and that's my grandmother. She is 104 and still sharp as anything, but she does go to bed now at 8 o'clock, so this is a little bit past her bedtime, but she is here in spirit, and I look forward to updating her on the great inauguration that we had tonight when we speak tomorrow. Over the past few weeks, I've had the opportunity to meet with members of our city council during this transition period, and I'm very excited to work with this team. We have 6 returning members entering their second terms and 5 new members, and let me introduce members of our city council. First of all, Paul Vicente, the new regional councillor for Wards 1 and 5, has lived in Brampton for more than 30 years. He is a grassroots leader as the founder of Stand Up for Brampton and as a director of Brampton Focus. He has worked to ensure that residents are engaged and have a better understanding of the important issues we face. His experience in transit advocacy and as a small business owner will be welcome assets to the new council. Rowena Santos is the new city councillor for Wards 1 and 5. She is the first Filipino-Canadian elected to council in Brampton. She has a master's degree from the London School of Economics in the important field of sustainable development. Most recently, she spent more than a decade working at Queen's Park, managing behind the scenes, and is now as an elected representative herself. And I also found out that she is a black belt in Muay Thai, martial arts, So when they say don't mess with Brampton, we're just going to introduce people to Rowena. But she tells me the favorite aspect of her CV is she's a proud mom to Lennon. Our next two members of the council from Wards 2 and 6, Regional Councillor Michael Pileshi and City Councillor Doug Willens, are beginning their second term. They have followed in their father's footsteps. Michael was born and raised in the Heart Lake area, attended Humber College. Prior to his election in 2014, Michael managed one of Deloitte's prestigious 50 best managed Canadian companies. I appreciate Michael's commitment to fiscal responsibility, his knowledge of planning issues, and his common sense approach to governing. Doug Willens is a lifelong Brampton resident who is passionate about his role as the campaign cabinet member of the Peel Memorial Centre for Integrated Health and Wellness and his understanding of the benefits of sustainability in healthcare. Doug's experience in both will be invaluable and will amplify the need for change in our healthcare system, something we all know well, all too well know about in Brampton. Martin Medeiros enters his second term as the regional councillor for Wards 3 and 4. He is the first council member ever elected of Portuguese heritage in Brampton. And what I didn't know was at the age of 16, he served on the Mayor's Youth Council under Mayor Peter Robertson. Martin's wealth of experience in policy development at the European Commission, at the United Nations in Italy, the Portuguese government, and the Government of Ontario for 12 years will be an important skill set and wealth of experience for the City Council. Now, Jeff Bowman was re-elected as the City Councillor for Wards 3 and 4, another lifelong and proud Brampton resident who graduated from Sheridan College's Business and Marketing program. Jeff's experience at Sheridan College, a post-secondary institute in Brampton, and marketing expertise will be invaluable on the university file when marketing Brampton is a great place to invest. Jeff studied at Brampton College, and who better to help bring a university than someone who lives and breathes the importance of academia. Pat Fertini was born in Italy, which my wife definitely likes, is a proud Italian. And he begins his second term on council as the new regional councillor for Wards 7 and 8. Prior to entering politics, Pat has spent many years owning his own small business as a project contractor and volunteering for many charities such as Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Through his volunteer work, he understands the issues around poverty in Brampton that we all want to address. Charmaine Williams is the new City Councillor for Wards 7 and 8. The first black woman ever elected to Brampton City Council. One year before the 2018 election, Charmaine suffered a horrible brain hemorrhage, which rendered her temporarily blind and unable to walk. When doctors told her she could not walk, she was determined to stand up. Months later, a community leader told her that she could not run for city council given her medical condition, so she registered. During the campaign, it was suggested there was no way of a mother of five children could possibly win, and here she is being sworn in tonight. I think it's fair to say her story makes us all want to work harder for the city of Brampton. Gurpreet Dillon is the new regional councillor for Wards 9 and 10. During his first term on council, Gurpreet founded Councillor Dillon's Drop in Basketball, which is a free youth initiative that aims to keep kids off the streets and out of gangs through sport. He has also hosted neighborhood safety town halls, municipal 101 sessions, engages in an annual park tour, has served on the city's Inclusion and Equity Committee, and certainly we're going to benefit from his experience on city council. Harkirat Singh is the city councillor for Wards 9 and 10. He is a former Peel District Board school trustee. He has an MBA from the School of Business. He will bring a business mindset that will be an advantage when attracting businesses and building the economy. His experience from being on the board of the Institute for Research, Innovation, and Sustainability will be leveraged to ensure that Brampton can focus on the innovation economy. So thank you, Harkirat. We're looking forward to your wealth of experience as well. So ladies and gentlemen, we have a city council that increasingly is starting to reflect the diversity that we have in our city. The first Filipino female councillor, the first black female councillor, 2 turban Sikh councillors, 2 Portuguese Canadian councillors, 2 councillors with Italian heritage, and 2 councillors with deep roots in the city of Brampton. We have a council with a wealth of experiences that comes from all walks of life. And I just feel so fortunate as mayor of the city to have a team like this. You know, this is Team Brampton, and we're ready and excited and energized to serve the city of Brampton. I also want to thank the members of the outgoing council for their commitment to public service. I want to thank Linda Jeffrey, Elaine Moore, Grant Gibson, Gail Miles, and John Sperveri for their many years of public service. A hand to all of them. Now, the last person that I want to acknowledge tonight is someone who's been an inspiration for me, someone I'm proud to call a friend, and that's William Davis, who served as Member of Provincial Parliament for 25 years and 14 years as Premier of Ontario, our great province. He has taught us all so much that I think, frankly, can be a model for us in the city of Brampton. He taught us to be more collegial, to be more respectful of others, be more open to different perspectives. And you look at his legacy of forward thinking, to be a premier that was the father of the community college system, behind the creation of 5 universities, the founder of TVO, the first premier to create the Ministry of the Environment, the first premier to appoint a female cabinet minister in Ontario. He is the definition of forward thinking, and Premier, we can learn from your insight, and thank you for swearing me in, and thank you for being here tonight. And I have to say, the more that I get to know Bill Davis, the more you're impressed with the incredible decency and sense of community. We had this beautiful Remembrance Day ceremony a few weeks ago in Brampton, and there was huge crowds out celebrating Remembrance Day. In the middle of the crowd entering, I saw the former premier, and there was VIP seats that were available right before the cenotaph, and I said we should have a seat for the former premier. And so one of the officials went over to offer the premier a seat, and he said, "No, I want to stand with everyone else in the crowd to pay my respects to our veterans." There he is at 89, a young 89, and it's beautiful to see his ongoing love for our city. We have a proud history in Brampton. The roots of Brampton's success can be traced to its heritage. The foundations were first laid almost 200 years ago when a group of industrious people established a small hamlet at the crossroads of Queen and Main Streets. They had ambitions to drive to build a great community that would be the envy of Canada. And that's our goal, is to make sure that dream is achieved. And tonight I want to talk about some of our priorities for this new council. My number one priority for Brampton is bringing jobs and investment to our city. We are open for business. Brampton has 2,800 acres of available land, 25 million square feet of commercial space, 3 million square feet of office space, and 100 million square feet of industrial space. Of cities and towns located within 40 kilometers of Pearson Airport, Brampton has the largest inventory of designated vacant residential and employment land for new construction. There is a Brampton advantage, and I look forward to engaging with the leadership team at the Greater Toronto Airports Authority and with CN, which has the largest intermodal railway terminal in Canada located in our city. We can't allow Brampton to become a bedroom community. Every development will be looked at through the lens of economic development. The newly created role of expediter in the Economic Development Office is going to be critically important as we work across key sectors, supporting activities and working to streamline client service by acting as a facilitator and a conduit to municipal services for the business community. In short, we have an expediter in economic development that's all about making it easy if you want to invest in the city of Brampton. You know, I talk about Bill Davis being one of the greats in our region, in our province, in our country. Well, recently I spoke to another one of the greats in our region, and that's former Mayor Hazel McCallion. She called to wish me well on this new venture, and I asked her, I said, as we're preparing for this transition, what advice would you have for our new council? What advice would you have for me as I take on this responsibility as mayor of our city? And her advice was pretty straightforward. She said, stop thinking small. Opportunity isn't limited to our backyard. And I said, expand upon that. And her response was, she told me the story of how she recruited 75 businesses to Mississauga from Japan. There was no pre-existing relationship, however, she showed up and she made the ask to invest in Mississauga. Our city's mosaic is as diverse as the United Nations. Brampton residents represent more than 234 different cultures and speak more than 115 languages. Our people-to-people connections should make Brampton an all-star team of economic development potential. Our large Portuguese, Italian, Filipino, Punjabi, Indian, Pakistani, Polish, Chinese, Tamil, Latin American, African diaspora populations, just to name a few, are natural linkages into pitching Brampton for investment. And we will create a Brampton advantage and pitch it to the world. Our Brampton Economic Development Master Plan positions the city as a global leader in innovation, talent, jobs, and investment with specific targets, including the addition of 140,000 jobs in Brampton in the next 20 years. We've got a plan. Now it's about making sure we can achieve that plan, but we have to fix the fundamentals if we're going to realize that goal. We will start by stopping escalating tax rates. We cannot have tax increases that are inconsistent with neighborhood municipalities. We need to be tax competitive. And I will propose an external value for money audit on all city departments. We need to make sure, when you look at the bottom line, that Brampton is competitive. We must also eliminate all red tape and look for efficiencies in our municipal government. We will start to make pitches. If we need to lay optic fiber or adjust a transit stop to land a company, we will. We will be in the game of making pitches and bringing investment to the city of Brampton. We also plan to host our first major international investment conference as Brampton means business. Another significant issue that's important across the city of Brampton that I wanted to talk about tonight is community safety. Our escalating crime rate is alarming, and I pledge to work with the police chief, the Police Services Board, and the Peel Police Association, and community stakeholders to find the resources needed to keep our residents safe. Shootings in Brampton and Mississauga are up 11% compared to 2017, which was a record year. We need more frontline police officers. Peel has an average of 133 officers per 100,000 residents. a shockingly low ratio compared to the provincial average, which is 189. And we wondered why there are crimes that don't get responded to. When you have over 25% less officers, it creates a gap that affects service levels. We must also strengthen the crisis outreach and support team program, which deals with calls involving mental health issues. The fact is, 42% of the Peel police calls last year were mental health related, and an expanded COAST program can make a world of difference, and I'm excited to work to understanding that aspect. We can't criminalize mental health. We need to make sure we have the right resources. In short, we know we have to do better when it comes to public safety. Every councillor, everyone heard this at the doors. This is a priority for Brampton, and it will be a priority for the new City Council to make sure that everyone feels safe in their city. I also wanted to speak about Brampton getting its fair share from our federal and provincial partners. The biggest disservice to Brampton is that politicians view Brampton as an electoral gold mine, but have never compensated us for those frequent visits. We always see more. You ever notice during the newscast during elections, it's every leader's in Brampton. Brampton visits, Brampton press conferences, Brampton photo ops. Why? Because we're known as sort of that core of the 905, those prized swing seats if you want to form a majority government. Yet despite all those visits, we've been massively underfunded. If the Peel's Children Aid Society was funded at the Ontario provincial average, there'd be an additional $30 million of funding coming from the province annually. And that's money that we desperately need for children and families. It's not equitable. The days of accepting less than our fair share with a smile are long over. Let's talk about healthcare. The Brampton Civic Hospital is overcrowded. Everyone knows that. But let's look at the facts. When people try to say everything is fine, the ER department can handle 250 patients a day. However, last winter the department was seeing over 378 patients a day. In 2017, the ER department had over 138,000 visits, making it the busiest ER in Ontario. And I think one of the great symbols of the challenge in our healthcare system is the story of Jamie Lee Ball. And she was known as hallway patient number one, but I was so impressed by her courage to talk about the experience that she went through. Because if you sweep it under the rug and you don't talk about it, doesn't get the attention that it deserves. And she had the courage to speak about her experience. Jamie spent 5 days in a hallway of the Brampton Civic Hospital on a stretcher with no pillow, just 3 thin curtains between her and a very busy public area. Jamie Lee could tell that the ER was busy, and not long after she arrived, the hospital announced it was under code gridlock, a state in which the hospital is essentially full and patients can no longer be admitted or moved to a bed. An ER doctor examined Jamie Lee and determined she was bleeding internally, so she certainly needed to be in the hospital. The physician said she needed an IV and possibly a blood transfusion, but there were no rooms or even stretchers available. Jamie Lee was sent to the waiting room as her pain grew worse. 4,300 patients were treated in the hallways of the Brampton Civic. This situation is unacceptable. Jamie is not an anomaly. Unfortunately, that's the reality in Brampton today. Oakville, with 200,000 residents, opened a new hospital, a beautiful new hospital, in December of 2015 with 457 beds. The new hospital in Vaughan, scheduled to open in 2020, will have 342 beds for 320,000 residents. Brampton, which is rapidly growing with over 600,000 residents, and the Brampton Civic Hospital only have 608 beds. Brampton currently has 1 bed per 1,000 residents, whereas the provincial average is 2.3. So we are drastically below the provincial average. Our city needs firm commitments on health care. We need the government to show that their commitment to Brampton isn't just at election time, that we're going to have the same quality health care in Brampton as they do anywhere else in the province of Ontario. And it's not just it's not just healthcare where there's an inequity. Look at transportation. And everyone knows that gridlock is a massive problem in the city of Brampton. But the federal and provincial governments are not making the type of investment we've seen elsewhere. You look at the investments in Scarborough or Vaughan or Ottawa or Hamilton, major investments. And on a per capita basis, Brampton's asks have been absolutely not even close to what we've seen in other municipalities. And there are major transportation needs, major needs on modern transit. Not to mention the 410 highway should have been widened all the way to Highway 10. All-day, two-way GO train service is long overdue. We need to be a priority for Metrolinx, a priority for the province of Ontario, and a priority for the federal government. We need to continue to make investments in Brampton Transit. The Queen Street East Corridor is currently the busiest transit corridor in Brampton, with over 25,000 transit customers per day on a weekday. To assist our growing city, we're going to need help with Brampton Transit. And the numbers, 17% increase in 2017. The numbers are only going one direction. And I'd mention the Queen Street East is a designated rapid transit corridor in the city's official plan and master plan, a transit spine in Brampton as outlined in the Vision 2040 document, and we're going to need help to make sure that we can handle the growth we have in our community when it comes to proper transit. Brampton City Council recognizes the transformational benefits and economic opportunities of a university for all Brampton and our residents, particularly our youth. Despite the provincial decision, we remain committed to this project. We are already engaging in discussions. We are already engaging in discussions and actions to move forward in our community, and we deserve to have post-secondary education opportunities in Brampton. And frankly, the previously funded satellite campus was the bare minimum, and to see that taken away, the province could do so much more to help young people in Brampton. Canceling the bare minimum investment in post-secondary education is very disappointing. I believe Brampton deserves a full university, not just a satellite campus. This is a step backwards, and we're going to continue to stand up for Brampton and highlight what we deserve. Because this is the bottom line. We all pay the same provincial taxes. We all pay the same federal taxes, and we deserve the same per capita services. We are not second-rate citizens in the city of Brampton. And I don't care if it's Doug Ford or Justin Trudeau. My party is the people. My party is the people of Brampton, and we will work with anyone who will deliver investment for the city of Brampton that is long overdue. Another aspect that I think is very important for us to work on in the years ahead is recreation. The Brampton of my dreams is a healthy community and an active community. And we've all heard concerns about increasing rates of diabetes, increasing rates of childhood obesity. One of the tools we have is recreational opportunities. And we have a proud history of loving our sports. So many great athletes played minor sports in Brampton. You look at names such as Rick Nash, Cassie Campbell, Tristan Thompson, Tamara and Alicia Tatham, Rob Maver from the Grey Cup champions from Calgary, as well as our Brampton Excelsiors Junior A lacrosse team who are Minto Cup finalists this season. This organization's history dates back to 1883. We have a proud athletic history in Brampton. But the challenge for us now is to make sure recreation is affordable, that recreation is accessible and recreation is available. I want young people in Brampton to have opportunities to recreation. Recreation is a powerful tool to keep our community healthy. And the city is currently constructing the new Howden Community Center, expanding and renovating Balmoral Recreation Center, expanding the Chris Gibson Recreation Center, including the twinning of the existing ice rink, and I'm excited about the renovations to the Brampton Soccer Center and the Phase 2 expansion, including the new ice rink at Gore Meadows Community Center. And the active transportation plan that talks about connecting missing links in cycling. I took a tour with some of our staff of the missing links. I really believe that we already have the basic fundamentals to have a very impressive active transportation plan in Brampton for pedestrians and cyclists, and that's something that we're certainly going to work on. But one last thing on recreation, I want to highlight our recreation must reflect the cultural mosaic that is our city. I would love to see Brampton host a G20 cricket tournament in our enhanced facilities. I remember going to the Earnscliffe Rec Center and there was a sign on the tennis courts. And don't get me wrong, I love tennis, but there was a big sign and it said, "No cricket allowed." Now, the reason they had to put the sign up was people love the sport of cricket and were looking for a spot to play cricket. I don't want to have to see signs on tennis courts saying no cricket. I want to make sure we have the facilities in the city of Brampton recognizing the various interests. I also hope that we can start some new initiatives and fundraisers. Sports can also be a powerful tool to raise funds for causes we believe in, local charities, and help underprivileged youth afford sporting equipment. So stay tuned for details on the inaugural hockey night in Brampton, the Brampton Half Marathon, Baseball Day in Brampton, Basketball Day in Brampton, and details on those major charity fundraisers will be coming out in the next month. Brampton is a unique city, and I'm so excited to channel some of our goodwill towards great causes that we all believe in. You know, I love our city's diversity. I love our Diwali parties, our Iftar dinners, our Kelsa parades, our Portuguese festival, our Latin festival, Jazz festival, Cara Bram, our upcoming New Year's Eve celebration, which is going to be fantastic. Arts and culture play a critical role in our community. Arts and culture is also an incredible economic development tool. Research shows that arts and culture enhance your quality of life, brings diverse communities together, and contributes to the economic well-being of our city, and we're certainly going to make sure that is also a priority for our city council. Now, I love living in the downtown near Gage Park. Bill Davis reminds me that's one of the greatest places in the world to live. There are so many events that happen in the downtown at Garden Square. I love shopping Saturday morning at the Brampton's Farmers Market. Actually, the suit I'm wearing tonight is from David Andrews Clothers. Always remember to shop local. You know, I should tell you one funny story from going to get my suit at David Andrews. I said that I wanted to make sure the suit I wore was from a local business, and he was fitting me for it, and he said, "You have muscular legs." I think that is the polite way to say that you're eating too much on the campaign trail. You can learn the nice things that Clothers say. But there's so much happening in the downtown. And if you look at the Vision 2040, it really speaks to some of the exciting plans in the downtown. The city of Brampton is working towards creating an aesthetically beautiful streetscape around the historic Four Corners. Riverwalk will be a transformative opportunity to help revitalize Brampton's downtown and make it healthy, sustainable, and resilient. From the addition of the cycle lanes to landscaping between street and sidewalk in order to capitalize on pedestrian walkability, there is so much happening in the downtown. So when economic development says Brampton is now, it is a place you want to be because it's only going to go in a positive direction. So I wanted to close tonight by saying I love our city. The city means the world to me. It's where my dad practiced law for decades. It's where I started my law career. It's where my wife's mother taught for years. It's where I want to raise a family and grow old. Bill Davis likes to say, "You never get in trouble for the speeches you don't give." However, for an inaugural speech, I think you have to share your vision and your aspirations for the city. And I wanted to extend my best wishes for my city council colleagues. I look forward to working with you and the great city staff we have at Brampton City Hall. I know that if we work hard, if we work together, if we keep focused, we will get Brampton back on track. That is our responsibility to the people of Brampton, and we will not rest until we cross that finish line. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. If I could just have you please have your seats for a moment. We just have a few more formalities, and then we'll end tonight's meeting, and then we'll have a reception out in the lobby. So now that all members have taken their declarations of office and council is officially organized, there is a requirement under the Municipal Act 2001 to convene and complete a formal meeting. I will now call this inaugural meeting to order on behalf of City Council, and I ask that we please proceed with the agenda, the following agenda of business and resolutions. So the first resolution is moved by Councillor Santos, seconded by Councillor Vicente, that the agenda for the inaugural council meeting of December 3rd, 2018 be approved as published and circulated. All those in favor? That carries. Thank you. This is the stuff clerks love. Under declarations of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, do any members have a declaration to make under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none, those will be so noted for the minutes. I now have a motion moved by Councillor Willen, seconded by Councillor Paleschi, that an offer of thanks from the Mayor and members of Council be extended to the following for their participation in the inauguration of the 2018 to 2022 City of Brampton Council: the Honourable Bill Davis, O Canada vocalist Samantha Piper, Anishinaabe traditional grandmother Kim Wheatley, the Lorne Scots Piper Jeremy Federico, Brampton Fire and Emergency Services Honor Guard, and the Brampton Enforcement Ceremonial Guard. All those in favor? Thank you. That carries. An invitation for reception on behalf of the Mayor and members of Council. That those, and this is moved by Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Medeiros, that those present at tonight's inaugural meeting be cordially invited to join the Mayor and members of Council at the Rose Theatre lobby just outside here for a reception immediately following tonight's meeting. All those in favor? Thank you. That carries. We're almost done. Finally, a confirming bylaw, moved by Councillor Williams, seconded by Councillor Fortini, that bylaw 228-2018 before Council at its inaugural meeting of December 3rd, 2018, to confirm the proceedings of this meeting be given the required number of readings, taken as read, signed by the Mayor and City Clerk, and the corporate seal affixed thereto. All those in favor? Thank you. That carries. And now the best motion of all, adjournment. This is moved by Councillor Singh, seconded by Councillor Dillon, that this council do now adjourn to meet again for a special meeting on December 4th, 2018 at 1 o'clock. All those in favor? Thank you. That carries. This inaugural meeting is now adjourned. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in your seats and follow members of Council as they leave the chamber to proceed to the lobby for a reception. Thank you for being with us this evening. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. Honor Guard. Just going to wait for the guard.